Portal2Cast.
Let the games begin.
In 3, 2...
Welcome to the Portal2Cast, the only show dedicated to making you a better builder. Today is Monday Madness, where we submit a challenge to the community, and the community rises to that challenge. The rules for today's challenge was simple. The theme was Old Aperture, and the rules were you had to build a puzzle that only included elements from Old Aperture Science Enrichment Spheres. As an added bonus, most of our submissions were published using StyleMod by Carl Kenner to make them appear just like Old Aperture tests. The Old Aperture Enrichment Spheres, where you're introduced to Cave Johnson, was actually my favorite part of the game. In third place, we have a puzzle with limited elements, parallel construction, lots of symmetry, a dose of frustration, a fairly elegant solution. I give you Overjump by Jenny Osis.
Those of you helping us test the repulsion gel today, just follow the blue line on the floor.
Alright, first impressions, what do I like? As you guys probably know, I'm a sucker for the apparent exit. The button right in front makes it very clear what to do. So goals, no question, check. You know what you have to try to do. Second, let's look at this puzzle. Perfect symmetry here. You have a cube dropper in the dead middle, blue and orange gels to either side, observation window at the far end, and even the lengthwise part of this test is virtually symmetrical. Obviously, a lot of attention went to the design and construction of the puzzle to give it aesthetic appeal. A good amount of lighting, even though it's underground, it's supposed to feel kind of dark and dingy, and it does, but nothing that makes it hard for the player to see. In fact, I really like that observation window splashing light there against those two walls right there. Here we have a fairly frustrating puzzle if you don't know what to do, and that's a mark in favor and against this puzzle because you can get frustrated, and I'm a big fan of anti-frustration features. So the first thing we have to do is fairly obvious. We're going to need some combination of gel over here on this side. Now you see what Jenny Osis has done is put these grates here at the end that you cannot gel, so you can't take a running leap to that far side. So that angled panel there is a big clue because we're going to take that angled panel and try to aim for it. And my preference was to make a portal straight on like this. And then we're just going to gently coat the edge with blue gel there and get a little sliver on the ground. Now I want you to be careful with this because if you actually portal exit too close to that wall there, the angle of that orange portal can actually send you flying in the water. Here we have access to the button, and we can now grab our cube if we can get to it. Let's start coating it with orange gel. Alright, now here is the actual tricky part of this test, because the rest of this so far was relatively easy. But if you blue gel, I'm going to quick save so I can show you, if you blue gel as you do in most Aperture tests, the end tile of this little runway, you are going to run and jump and die. So what you want to do is coat right up to the edge with red gel, but not the edge itself. And then you can cross and you will survive. But you'll notice that doesn't guarantee you grab the cube because there's still a timing puzzle in here. And here's where I quick save, and I will show you the end result on my 472nd take. Success! We have the cube. And I was wrong, it only took me 312 takes. This is an execution puzzle. Why did I award it third place? It was well designed. Two parts of the execution puzzle actually had to do with portal placement, not merely player execution. The only real execution part of the puzzle is the timing. The rest is figuring out how to use your portals and how to use your gel to cross a gap that is very specifically placed. Here's an example you can spend a lot of time on. You feel like you're staring the answer in the face, but you're not quite there. That's what I liked about this puzzle. Our second place puzzle comes from a newcomer to the Monday Madness Challenge. It is simple, frustrating. It has limited elements. One room, and I first thought it was impossible, despite the playtested logo. I give you Repulsion Gel Testing version 2 by Prof. Zark. I hated this puzzle. I really hated it. I thought it was impossible. Let's give you the tour. First, on the far side, we have a box on a weighted button connected to the exit, and a fizzler on that side. A horizontal fizzler the length of the main chamber, an elevator here, angled panels that we cannot use to fling into that room, which has its own fizzler. So, although I played with a number of other things first, probably the most obvious thing to do is go ahead and coat this pit with some repulsion gel. One thing to note, that elevator will crush you and you will die. So now that we have access to the cube, we can see if we remove the cube from the button, it does a couple of things. It removes this horizontal fizzler, and that unfortunately took me a little bit to realize, although there are 2 ant lines coming off, so you should be looking for 2 things to happen. And this fizzler goes away. So here already you have a frustrating mini puzzle, because if you try and take the cube anywhere, you're just going to destroy it. I'm the worst cube thrower on Earth, but I spent some time trying to throw the cube across the first fizzler while I stood on the button and run off the button in time for the second fizzler. But fortunately for me, this is not an execution puzzle, it's a thinking puzzle. After spending 483 hours trying to get the cube off of this platform, I decided, hey, let's try testing the chamber simply with the cube off the button. Now we have a different looking chamber. There's a few different things we can try. Among the things we can try is flinging to that far side from here, because there's no fizzler in the way anymore. And we missed. That's so heartbreaking. I thought I had it. This required another revelation, and that's what this puzzle was, revelation after revelation. For this to work, you actually have to fling into the blue gel. Now we have some momentum. You can see we are grazing the ceiling, and we can fling to the far side. Now this is curious. We have a button which will permanently unlock these 4 panels. And if I can get back across there and put that cube on the button, I remember that these 2 vertical fizzlers will be gone, and the horizontal fizzler will return, so I could actually portal the cube over to this side. The problem is, when the cube is off that button, the exit is closed. So what are you going to do? So I actually brought the cube over here just because I thought, well, there's another button over here and the cube started over there, so the solution must somehow involve getting the cube to this point. And while I was right, I had no idea how. And again, we have a double ant line, and I didn't realize for a while that this panel was activated here, and now I have a way I can fling to the exit. The problem is the exit is closed. As I said before, I hated this puzzle. But that's why I made it second place. But that's why I'm giving it second place, because hating a puzzle and thinking it's actually impossible and then beating it is actually the most satisfying feeling in Portal 2. And I actually confess that I stumbled upon the solution by accident, simply by trying everything. So first things first, let's get our fling on. You notice I ducked so I wouldn't accidentally bounce around and fall off this ledge. Now, we have a cube over there and a closed exit, but if you will recall, the cube dropper was right over the button that opens the exit. So all we have to do is figure out a way to move that cube while standing here by the exit. And the method is blue gel. Cube is destroyed, and the new cube drops, and the exit is open. Excellent job, Professor Zark. I enjoyed the test immensely. For our first place puzzle, I give you a puzzle that is beautiful. It's symmetrical. It is challenging. I give you 3x3 by Baxter. Look at this puzzle right away. We have multiple fizzlers. We have red gel. Up in the corner we have blue gel. We start with access to the exit and a button that opens the exit, so very clear goals. First things first, you can see that you're going to want to use some red gel to fling. The problem is, the place where you want to fling is actually blocked by Fizzler. We can turn off the Fizzler. And this next part actually took me a while because I was looking for harder solutions with the orange gel. Something, again, with that run and fling. But it's deceptively simple because the next part is merely a normal fling jump. And now we get a chance to play with these two buttons up here. So this button opens the near Fizzler, the top portion of it, and this button opens the far Fizzler. So how can you combine them into a meaningful whole? At this point, you can't. You're going to need a cube to activate one of these buttons. So what can we do? Let's open one of them. This next part also took me a while because I was looking for ways to jump or ways to fling. And again, it's deceptively simple. That's what I love about this puzzle. It looks very complex and convoluted. You've got fizzlers and gels and buttons and flings. This next section can be solved merely by running and jumping to the other side. The gap is 3 cubes wide, which is more than enough not to be able to make it with a normal jump, but with the assistance of proportion gel, you can run across. Now we have access to bounce gel, and the simplest way to use it is just to get across to our other button, and finally access to a cube. So how many steps was that just to get the cube? You knew the cube was there. There were multiple buttons, but they weren't all available at once, so you didn't have to run in and try and turn everything on and figure out what it all did. Instead, you feel like, here's a mini puzzle. Here's another mini puzzle. Here's another mini puzzle. And if you're not looking for the solutions, or if you're not experienced with that specific type of puzzle, you could be stuck there for a while. So we have a cube, and we have fizzlers galore, so we can't get the cube to the exit. What we can do, though, is repeat the first part of the puzzle and get the cube to those 2 buttons. Automatic respawning cube, excellent anti-frustration feature. So here's the fun thing about a puzzle like this. You come this far, and you have a cube, you have it on the platform you're sure you need a cube on, but you still can't solve the puzzle. Because, for example, if you portal into that ceiling, and portal the cube out of this room, it's going to go through that other horizontal fizzler there. You've solved a lot of mini puzzles on the way, but the larger room puzzle still awaits you. So you can't deactivate both of these fizzlers at the same time. As soon as you leave, one of them is going to return. The closest you can get is deactivating the far fizzler. That floor button down there actually deactivates the bottom strip of the near fizzler, and you can portal across that way. The solution I found was a little bit more intricate. You'll notice I have my portal across the way so I can fling over to this side, but the one thing you can access with standing on this button is blue gel and most of the puzzle. So I have blue gel near the entrance, and I have blue gel the end of this platform here. These orange and blue and white gels are called mobility gels for a reason. What I will do is use my increased mobility to cross this pit, which I was not previously able to do, and with this fizzler down, go ahead and portal into the middle. And with my cube still on that far corner button, I have this section here available for portaling. So I'll place another portal there. And you can do this a couple of ways. You can blue gel the end of that for the running jump that I took. Also, it works if you blue gel this portion here. And if you remember the reciprocal property of blue gel, at this height, I can blue gel bounce right back to my cube. We're at the exit. Baxter, I found this puzzle to be very frustrating at times, a lot of fun at others. What's amazing about it is how many things there are to try, even with very few elements. The only thing that worked was a methodical step-by-step, I'm going to cross this fizzler, and then I'm going to cross that one, and it was a very logical puzzle. And what I liked was, before you got to the big puzzle, you had all these miniature puzzles where they required a little bit of thought or a little bit of time to figure out, and then in the end, you felt very rewarded. I want to thank all of our finalists. I want to thank everyone who submitted. In a way, it's sort of cheating that I'm able to do the show because I'm able to solicit puzzles and then play a lot of excellent ones. So thank you everybody for watching, and especially thanks for mapping. I had a great time.